Good morning, everyone. This is Francis here again with another Forex Weekly forecast. So, in this week's forecast, I'm going to be talking about Euro JPY, Pound CAD, and AUD CHF. As usual, I'll be analyzing it from, and I'll be analyzing this pairs from the daily time frame into the 4 hours time frame, showing what I'll be expecting to present itself on this pair. So, I have my horizontal lines drawn on this page just to avoid unnecessary waste of time. So I'm going to be adding just trend lines to this pair. So that's one trend line, and I'll be drawing this just to explain something. Alright, so these are the lines I'm going to be drawing on the daily time frame. Now from this low, we can sell price from this low, made this high, came for a lower high, forming this inverse head and shoulders pattern we have over here. And after that, what did we have? We had the retest of the neckline of the head and shoulders, and we had all this explosion to the upside. Okay, so from this resistance at 24.28, price rejected it, and we had this huge drop in price. You can see our price found support around 2046 and the ascending trend line. Then the next day, that was, I think this should be on Friday, last 2 weeks, we had this kind of candle that showed indecision, and it actually closed outside of this ascending trend line. Within Monday and Tuesday, we had the retest of this broken ascending trend line support as resistance, and you can see how Tuesday's candle rejected that particular support as resistance, and after that we have price drop lower again to 1946. Okay, now from this, what can we see clearly? Before I continue, I'll be removing this trend line since we will no longer be using it. Okay, so now what can we see here from a trend perspective? We had this push up, and then what do we have? We have from this high, we have one low, we now have a lower high, we have a lower low. So what would I be expecting? I'll be expecting to see a retest of previous support as resistance. Now that's another lower high before the continuation lower to 1847. Now it will be one thing that could happen is that we could just see a possibility that there's also a possibility that price could just drop straight to the support at 1847. So when we drop to the 4 hours time frame, I'll be telling you how I will work around that if that is what will present itself. Okay, so let's go to the 4 hours time frame and see what we have. Okay, so here we go on the 4 hours time frame. You can see our price just consolidated around this area before we had the break. The retest came in at this point, and that was confirmation for this short trade to this area. Somewhere around this area was where I took my entry and exited at this low to see how price will react. So if we'll be having a continuation lower without a retracement, as usual there ought to be some kind of rebound. I'll be expecting that rebound to come in at this area. So if at this area my entry rules will be fulfilled, and I'll be looking at taking a trade from this area down to the support at 1847. But it's also wise, the best place I'll be expecting to take this trade will be at this area 2046. Why? Because we will have a proper retest on daily time frame of this support over here as resistance once again over here, and aside from that we will have this descending trend line aligning with this resistance at this point. So at that point, that will be in better position. We have better risk to reward and a higher chance of price hitting our target at 1847. So this is what I'll be expecting. Either a retest of this area. If I get my signal there, then that's where I'll take this short trade. But if the price will just push higher, then at this area I'll be looking for shorting opportunities to this support at 1847. But it's also wise to take into consideration that price might get to this point and then break above. So if I get a daily close above this descending trend line, then it means we may not be seeing price move lower any longer. We might be seeing price make the next wave higher. So this is what I'm going to be expecting price at this point. Now, as long as price is below this trend line, it remains resistance, and we will continue to expect to see price drop further. But if I would have a daily close above this whole area of structure, then it means we'll most likely be seeing continuation to the upside. So that's going to be all on Euro JPY. Let's go to pound card. Okay, here we go. So I already have my trend lines drawn on this pair from the daily time frame. So what do we have here from the daily time frame? We have a market that came from this high. We had an impulse, we had a correction, and then we should be expecting the next impulse lower to probably all these lows around here. That's a possibility. So we can also see that this was actually a flag pattern over here. We have the impulse, we have the flag, we have the break. So now what should we be expecting? Continuation downwards. And if we are going to be using measured objective, that means we could actually see there's actually the possibility of price giving out an 818 pips rally from this pair. That's from this high. Using measured objective, might be seeing price drop down to 63.39. That's a possibility, like I said. So how will I be approaching this pair? I'll be expecting price to at least complete this move down to the support at 67.16, and from that area I'll be expecting to see some kind of retest of this previous support at 69.59. So from that area, that's where I'll be looking for short opportunities down to 65.31 and possibly 63.39. So those are what I'll be expecting. And as you can see, this is actually a multi-year ascending trend line that has been in existence since July of 2019. We have the first where it started right there. We had the first touch here. We had multiple touches at this point and a rejection before we had a couple of touches at this point and then the break below. So after a break of this type of trend line, it's always wise to expect a retracement before continuation down to our downside target. So let's go into the 4 hours time frame and see what we have from a 4 hours point of view. Alright, so this is the 4 hours time frame. And what we can see on the 4 hours time frame, first of all, okay, I'll be adding one more trend line to this chart. Okay, so here we go. Now from the daily time frame, we expect to see a completion to this low before the retracement to previous support that will be acting as resistance now. So now we already have a downtrend. You can see we had one low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, and then we can expect to see price complete this move to this low. So It might not be one straight move. You might see price just slow down. As you can see, the momentum is already reducing. We had one strong bearish candle, and that bearish candle, and now you can see the wicks is started becoming longer than the body one by one. So this signals weakness on this pair. So however, I expect to see completion to this area, then a break of this descending 4-hour trend line. So once those two things will happen, then I could be looking for long opportunities from this area to this resistance at this point before the short trade, because this is actually a whole lot of pips at that point. If we are going to calculate it, we're going to see that this could give about 230 pips. So I don't think it will be wise to just trade with that opportunity. So if price will complete the move to this point, give me one of my valid entries around this point after the break of this descending trend line, then I'll be taking a buy trade back into 69.59 before I start looking for short opportunities back to the overall downside target. Okay, so that's going to be all on pound card, and let's go to the last pair for today, AUDCHF. Alright, so here we go. This is the daily time frame on AUDCHF, and I have the levels I'm going to be paying attention to all highlighted. So right now, what do we have from the daily time frame? First of all, just like Euro JPY, we have two ascending trend lines on this pair. Okay, after that, what did we see? We had price move up, come back, and then we didn't have any form of retracement back to that trend line. So this could actually be the retracement to this trend line before continuation upwards. So that's actually a possibility that we shouldn't ignore. So what else do we have? We had another trend line at this point. Our cancel price found resistance at 67.34. We had the push down to support at 64.25, breaking this ascending trend line we had at this point. Now, what did we have next? A retest of previous support as resistance. If you follow me, you know I always talk about levels like this where you have just one small candle before a long candle. And I always highlight that this is actually an area where price found some kind of support or resistance on the smaller time frame. That's why you can see this small candle over here. So that was actually a level of structure. I can see how price respected it as resistance before the move lower. So also we had the trend line is broke, and we had the retest of the trend line here on Tuesday, and price started moving lower. So at this point I can expect continuation down to support at 64.25. So like I said, I can expect continuation to support at 64.25 for the retest of this trend line. So at that point I will not want to be trading any lower than that, because we might have a break lower and continuation lower. At the same time, this is actually a trend line. You can see that from here it's tested there as support once, tested once again. So there's nothing stopping it from testing it the third time before continuation upwards. So I'll be exiting at 64.25, and I'll want to see how price will react to this level. If I'll get a daily close below this level, then it means we might be seeing price dropping lower. I'll make an update if that should happen. But if price gets here and rejected, then we might be seeing a continuation low higher. So for now, we're expecting price to make this push to this area. Let's go into the 4 hours time frame and see how we can pick an entry. Okay, so here we go in the 4 hours time frame. I have all my levels set already, and you can see this was actually a flag. We had this push downward, we had this flag pattern, and this was actually where the daily trend line I talked about, which broke, met before we had the break of this ascending, that's this bearish flag pattern. We had the break, we had retest at this point, and we could have expected continuation down to this continuation down. So I took a trade around here. It stopped me out at break even because price didn't move right immediately. But also we have this descending trend line. You can see how we have one touch at this point, we have another touch at this point. You can see how Friday rejected it once again, so we can expect continuation lower to our target at this point. But how do we pick our entry? I'll be waiting for at least a 4 hours close below this 6501 support. Then on the retest, I'll be dropping to the 1 hour time frame to pick an entry down to the support at 64.25. So that's what I'm going to be doing on AUDCHF. Okay, so that's going to be all with today's weekly forex forecast. If you enjoyed this analysis, please do well to subscribe, like, leave a comment below and let me know what you think about it. Till we meet in the next video, do have yourself a wonderful weekend and always stay profitable. Good day.